Follow along with us down the dark rabbit hole of the abnormal, the realms of the unknown, where the worlds of light and dark collide. Out of space and time, you're now entering the midnight Shadowline.
All right, so we're here for the first episode of the Midnight Shadow Line. I'm Christian. I'm here with TJ. He's from the Appalachian Mountains. I'm sure if anybody's from here, you know where I'm talking about. Uh, if you're not from here, I guarantee you think he's from the Appalachians. So, TJ, you want to tell us about you have some weird things going on. You ran into a little weirdness out there on the mountainside somewhere, right? You want to go ahead and get into it?
Yeah, yeah. Spending most of my life in the mountains, I've seen like that unicorn, buck, one antler,
Hmm.
stuff you just brush off. And August 2023, me and my nephew we passed this area several times. We decided to go up there, and there's no posted signs trespassing or anything. Come across a ramp pad. So the following month, we started spending quite a bit of time up there. We started hearing clicking. Like, didn't pay much attention to it until we heard rustling, like in the brush, and kind of rushed it off. So at the time, I didn't think feral people was too far outside of the realm. As I said earlier, before my belief system was radically changed. So I went into Black Mass Paranormal Chat. It had a little anonymity, and I put that experience out there, and you connected with me. And I continued going back, and a lot of crazy things started happening. Orbs, uh, weird feelings. I think you can attest to that. I've seen some weird behavioral shit,
Yeah,
armed to the teeth in the woods and feel helpless.
you have sent me a lot of pictures and video for sure. I can vouch for that personally. We'll hopefully be able to put some of that into this, a little later on in post. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, you have given me plenty of proof to back up everything you say.
Yeah, so I've experienced the war. Uh, wasn't able to get it on video. Told my nephew about it. I took him back up there 3 or 4 more times before he finally seen one. He instantly got sick. He doesn't want to talk about it. He won't tell me why. He refuses to watch my videos. Me, I got obsessed with it. I wanted to know. And weird stuff don't happen all the time. But when you're in that area, it's just something you're extra, your senses are heightened. Well, I finally got my video. I felt validated. I was kind of uplifting, weirder stuff started happening. Just bells, sitting that video, complete isolation bells around me. Some months later, the orb started showing up at my house, over an hour away from the original location. I got the video of one going down behind my house. That's when I was like, what have I done? that didn't deter me. I felt the need to go back, go back, go back. Sleepless nights. I drove an hour, 1 o'clock in the morning, hike 45 minutes up a mountain. Just obsessed. And some people didn't like the videos of where I took the videos. A certain agency had DNR Act under Papa. I don't think it was so much as a cover up as a bully, but I don't know. They made it clearly posted after that. So I continue to go back. Just there's a rock. A purpose. I mean, I don't know. You've seen a rock. It sticks out like a sore thumb. That is the absolute marker for the weirdness. Beyond that rock, it's game on. You just, I've never felt so helpless to continue to go back. And, yeah, my belief system has been radically changed.
Yeah, that's kind of I wanted to ask you about that. We had a little conversation, I believe, in the beginning about how you felt uh, about the paranormal or about people that experience you know weird things. So what did you believe before you started having these experiences, as far as that goes?
Uh, I really wasn't into the woo-woo. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I think in my case, once I experienced it, it stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see the orbs anymore, but of course I haven't been back up there in a while. So
yeah,
it's interesting. I'm moving out of state, so I definitely won't be back up there. It's probably a good thing. Just a lot of things I can connect with what I experienced, and just the string of bad luck.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, not wondering, but I kind of just had that same thought. I wondered if moving out of state might not be a good thing. But it sounds like that pull is so strong that you inevitably could potentially come back if things worked out. Just so I know how it is to have a pull towards a place. There's a place here just out of town that I've told you about, sent you some pictures and things of, and it's kind of the same. You have lights, you have sounds, you have things that man, that there's just things that don't belong in the world, in my opinion, and I've seen them myself, and I've actually been lucky enough. It doesn't mean anything on paper, I guess, but I have had people with me to witness a couple of these weird goings on out in this area. And this is just a connecting road. There's nothing special about it. Some weird. There've been murders, there's been suicides, there's been. I'm sure I've run into meetings and guys with white sheets out there. You kind of figure that out on your own. It's just the land itself is. I think the land is out there is bad, or it's different. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad, but it's. I don't know. It calls to me now. It terrifies Beth, for instance. If you go there and cut a car off, she will lose her effing mind. She does not like that area. She's never liked it. So I know how it is to have a place. Go ahead.
I told my nephew it's like a crazy ex. You want to go back, and it's not if, but when the chaos is going to ensue. It's just
Like I've always said, the most amount of fun for the least amount of time.
Yeah, that's the closest everybody connected. It's surreal. You don't believe it can happen until it happens to you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So what do you think? What do you think that you've seen out there? I mean, what do you think is going on out there? Do you think it's something spiritual? Do you think it, like, is it paranormal, or is it do you think it's the government? Do you think it's something natural? What do you think what do you think you're seeing out there, or what does it tell you in
Well,
your gut?
there's definitely government land. You know the story behind that. I lost my camera.
Yeah.
So, but I kept going as close as I can legally.
Mm-hmm.
There is an old cemetery up there,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks to be like a mound, but I can't see for sure. But it's overgrown, but it is prominent,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's spiritual, paranormal, government. I would say it's more spiritual and paranormal than government.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they didn't like the fact I was on their land. And
It could well be.
DNR wanted to flex on me.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say so. Well, okay. How is what's happened? How has it changed your view? So you went from what you've told me, you were a complete non-believer in pretty much whatever. Like you said, I believe you told me at one point that you would go so far as not necessarily make fun of somebody to their face, but if somebody had a story, kind of like you have or I have, after they left, you kind of be like, what was that guy on, or what? How has that changed? Has that changed your overall? I know you said it radically changed your views on a lot of things. How has that changed how you view everything?
Skepticism. The guy's full of it, or he believes he saw something.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate to get some of my experience on camera. I'm grateful for that, because to this day, I think I'm crazy.
Yeah, you sent me some videos, I think, and I slowed one down enough to where you were having a flash in the sky or somewhere in the sky, and I don't know if you remember the stills I sent you of when that flash occurs, but it's kind of like some of those more recent pictures you sent me. I don't know, and some of the other videos as well. It's a little different, but there's something in those videos, a lot of those videos and the pictures as well. I guess that I sent you some of that. I did a little work on the colors and the brightness and contrast, and to try to bring up some of the detail and take out some of the colors and kind of see what's going on there a little bit. And for the best both of us could figure, we kind of figured that. I mean, there's something there. It has to be a physical body of some sort because to me, it seems to be emanating a sort of light from it. It's like it's a physical object, but it's also emanating like a sort of pulsing light. You know, um, and
if I'm not mistaken, when you did the contrasting, I think that brought out a second object that wasn't visible originally, just above the orb. If I'm correct, was that the yellow contrasted one?
It might have been. I don't know. I've done so many. I'm trying to think. A couple that I've lightened up, and one that you sent me. It's not even been lightened up. One of the ones you sent me last night. It seems like whatever these things are, they're leaving like trails of light behind them. Like they're moving, or maybe they're moving so fast the shutter is capturing it, moving through the frame, even though it's a fraction of a second. Maybe it's like a motion blur. But it's even though it's dark, you can definitely tell there's something going on. And
Yeah, the one I seen last night, I forgot I recorded that one.
Yeah.
And when I would get out there and feel uncomfortable, I'd make a video just to take my mind off of it. And, I'll send it to him. He'll help me with it. And I totally forgot about that one. And when I sent it to you, after I sent it to you, I looked at it, and there was an orb in that one.
Yeah.
But I never seen it.
I've had something else funny happen that I didn't tell you about, but it's happened to me and you both before, and luckily you were able to find the bits that I couldn't find. But some of there's I think one video and two pictures that you sent me last night that's just disappeared out of our conversation. Now, luckily, I saved those, so I have duplicates of them. But just like before, certain things are disappearing out of the conversation without either one of us taking them out. I can't figure out what's going on with that. That just strikes me as a little odd, you know. And I know you said that it can, you know, when you go up there and your nephew goes up there, that you get not necessarily confused, but you start acting in a strange manner, like you know, maybe.
Well, after he got sick, he never went back. One time, one order was enough for him.
And he's never said whatever scared him so bad. He just don't want to talk about it, don't want to hear about it, right?
You don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Don't want to see my videos.
Huh.
But yeah, when I anticipate getting up there, but I know what I'm in for. But I'm never prepared for it because it's not a. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen right when you get there.
Yeah.
When that switch is hit, it's game on, and disorientation, confusion, dread, excitement. You name it, it's happening all at once. You never had that feeling.
Huh.
I've seen two people up there, two different people, odd time at night. But then again, I'm up there at odd time at night. One guy didn't turn out to be so weird. Other one, he scared me and he almost caught some lead, you know, so.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's odd. I don't know if anyone going up there. I thought maybe at first it was feral people, because like I said, that was within my realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it wasn't people, but I never felt alone up there. I always felt like somebody was watching me or was up there. Somebody besides me. Never had that feeling other than somebody watching.
Yeah, Beth is doing a little bit of work on one of your photos now. I think one of the ones from last night, and she's lightened it up a little bit, and it almost looks like there's a figure in the background. It's like a shaggy looking, hard to explain. I'll send it to you in a little bit, but it looks, it kind of, it does kind of resemble a Bigfoot, but it could be a husky guy in a jacket. It could be anything, but it's interesting.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Because it's in the background of the trees. Didn't you say the trees? Is that the area where it starts? Is beyond the trees or beyond the rock?
The rock is where it starts. Okay. That picture of the tree where it's like behind it's like engulfed in blackness. Yeah. That's where I've seen that first orb.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And I didn't get the first one I came. That one was just right at the top of the trees, coming towards me.
Yeah.
You know, that one, that was scared me. Then they started becoming less intimidating.
Yeah.
Until it started showing up at my house, you know.
Yeah. Well, especially as far as being intimidating. You talked about the one guy that made you nervous. I was gonna see if you'd go just a little bit more into some of the people you've met up on the mountain, because I've talked to you and it's been the middle of the night, and I know you stay hours, sometimes all night, you know, after we leave. But you know, you usually, from what I understand, you usually leave in the early a.m. and you run across a couple people, and I believe you said you run across one old boy a couple times out there. And it just seems odd to me that out on a mountain, out in the middle of nowhere, really, that you know you just see people at whatever 2:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're getting ready to hike up the mountain and go check something out. What do you think's going on with those people, or what do you think about those people? I know you said the one didn't really bother you. What do you think about the other one that did bother you? Is there a particular reason why he bothered you? Just something about him, maybe?
You know, I'm the weirdo in the woods on top of the mountain 2, 3 o'clock in the morning myself. So how weird do I look
Yeah, that's
to the
true. But if
next
you're on the
guy?
mountain at 3 o'clock, that means you've probably been on the mountain for a while. Somebody hiking up at 3 a.m. just strikes me as a little odd. I mean, I don't know. I've been out.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
the first guy, he was the trail I take. It's nobody found it. It's a small game trail. It's crickets, and he was a good ways from that area. So it didn't strike me as so much odd because that was getting more towards, where there's residentials, I thought maybe
Mm-hmm.
a druggie out there using or something, but he didn't have a light,
No light,
no light.
and
And,
it's dark
I
out in those
go in and
woods.
out. Yeah, I go in and out with a red headlamp,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want anybody seeing the trail. And second guy, I ran into him twice, and talking to him, I think it was like 1:30 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and talking to him, I was like, okay, the questions he's asking, he knows a little something what's going on here. Younger guy than me, but turns out he didn't know as much as I thought he did. I knew I was going to be giving up on, I don't want to say investigating that area, but satisfying my curiosity. And he was more looking for, that area has the right vibe to stage videos, just the visuals. And he had no genuine interest, so I just showed him half a video.
Yeah.
That had nothing in it,
Yeah.
and I thought I was going to share more with him, but he has no genuine interest other than, in my opinion, staging a video. It has the visuals for that. Especially if he comes across that old cemetery or anybody else, that's without a question that they're going to use that one way or another, whether they make a paranormal investigation or just something to display. I never wanted to exploit that area like that.
Yeah, that's what interests me. That's what interests me about you. Like you said, if you want to see a ghost, you can see a ghost. You want to see a UFO or Abraham Lincoln, that's probably what you'll see. But you went into those mountains not expecting to see anything. You went into those mountains as a total non-believer. I believe you said you were hunting or you were putting out some trap cams for the game initially, wasn't you, or something like that? But I mean, it wasn't anything to do with any oddness or any investigation. It was just a natural hike, I guess you would say.
Me and my nephew, we've passed that mountain several times. And one day we just went in there, we came across a ramp pad. Anyone that don't know what ramps are, it's a wild onion. And, some money in that. You find a good pet. Well, when you're from this area, you know if somebody has claimed the spot or not. This one obviously hasn't, been harvested, years. It was so vast. That's how it initially started, just a normal album. And we started going up there harvesting ramps. And like I said, it started with those clicking sounds. And that was weird, but it wasn't weird at the time, and but now it seems to all time in.
I was gonna say,
I just don't understand.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I don't understand how one person two different people can have two opposite feelings from the same experience in regards to me and my nephew. I got totally I was obsessed with the place and didn't know it. That's how bad it was. Now that I've taken a break from it, I see that I was obsessed with it. Mm-hmm. Him, on the other hand, it never happened. He don't want to talk about it.
It is interesting why it would affect you too so differently. It would terrify him, but it wouldn't. Well, it terrifies you to an extent, but not enough for you to not go back. It's like you said when we were talking the other night, when last time we talked, or one of the last times we talked, not in person, but on the phone, or and that was my first question. You, what the hell are you doing back on the mountain? I thought you weren't going back, but I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was one of those times that I got that confusion, disorientation. A grown man needed a hand on, so I get you on a video call.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, man, I'm up here." He said, "What the fuck you doing back up there?"
Yeah.
Look, I remember turning the camera around, and I was like, "Look."
Yeah.
Total darkness. What the hell was I doing? You can hear the confusion in my voice.
Yeah, I noticed that when you go up there, you do seem a little off sometimes. Like you'll be on point and we'll be having a conversation, and then you just kind of either stop talking or you kind of trail off sometimes. Not it's a little bit noticeable sometimes. It's not like anything crazy, but it is. You seem to be acting a little strange, or thinking a little bit differently, when you're there for whatever particular reason that might be.
And you don't realize it in the moment. Mm-hmm. You only realize it after it happens. That's my experience with it, anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
from what I understand, at one point, I know you said you put out the trap cams when you were, I guess for preseason for hunting or whatever, to kind of see what the game is running or what have you. And you said you had a run in with the DNR, right? And that maybe wasn't the only experience you had with those types of people, but as far as just the DNR, how did that take place? Did you just come to get your cameras and they just sort of appeared, or what? How did that work out exactly?
Well, when I tied in the clicking with the orbs, mm-hmm. I set my cameras up to try to. I only had 2 trail cams, so it wasn't necessarily triangulating. It was more giving it a wide view. Mm-hmm. Much like a 180 view. And so I had them out there about 10 days, and DNR knocks on my door, and I got a citation trespassing on federal land, and well, he pointed out a sign that was probably 50, 60 years old, rusted, bullet holes in it, laying in brush, mm-hmm. And okay, I was trespassing, but you want to take my cameras because of that sign. So I would love to have those SD cards, because I know there's got to be at least an odd sound or an odd capture of some kind.
Yeah.
Out 2 cameras in 10 days.
Yeah.
As far as the DNR, I don't think it's a cover up. That's just bullying,
Mm-hmm. So you don't think they're really covering anything or hiding anything? They just don't like you on their land, even though their land is supposedly public land. But according to, from what I understand, at one point somebody more or less told you that I believe more like, I don't know if they worded it exactly this way, but the way you kind of put it to me was they sort of told you they don't really give a fuck who told you what. this is government land, stay off of it or go to prison or get fined an enormous amount of money, right? Or something to that effect. Which is a little odd, just for a piece of land out in the middle of nowhere where there's not anything to speak of but rocks and trees, in my opinion, anyway. I just find that a little odd.
Yeah, DNR was acting on behalf of a department of something. I don't want to say because on my agreement,
yeah, that's understandable.
I avoided a fine, but there was certain agreements.
Yeah, it's been my experience. Any three-letter agency is best to stay away from as much as possible. It's been my experience.
Yeah, so now whether the department of whatever knows, I don't know. They just had DNR acting on their behalf.
Huh. That's interesting.
So DNR's,
yeah,
you know how I feel about them.
Yeah, probably like everybody does. But yeah, that's another story for another day. What do you think these lights are that you're seeing? I know you said sort of paranormal, but do you think these are like earth lights? Are they spirit lights? Do you think these are some sort of craft or some sort? I know it's not swamp gas. You're certainly not in the swamp. I don't think it's the planet Venus. I know what Venus looks like. I know what Mars and the moon looks like. It ain't none of those things. I know that for sure. What do you think? What do you think you're seeing out there? Those lights. Do you have any idea? Any gut feeling about it at all?
Honestly, I don't know. There's an intelligence to them. They don't show up at my house. From an hour away. 55 miles down the road.
Yeah.
So there's definitely an intelligence. The only other person I know that had seen them the same time I was in my area was a Baptist preacher. He lives about 3 miles away. Now, he said he's seen them around here before. I never have. I've been here all of my life, most of my life. But he says that some of them are, I'm trying to remember how he said it, divine, spiritually aligned, and some of them are not so divine. And he didn't associate a color with what's what. It's a feeling he gets. So I'd say he's more in tune with things than what I am.
Yeah, could be. It's odd for a Baptist preacher or a preacher in general to have that sort of view about things. It's so odd because even the Bible teaches, there's a heaven and a hell, and there's, fallen angels and demons, and it gives you proof of spirits. And I know they say Christ rose from the grave, but if you look at it, sort of from an outside perspective, what happened? Christ was killed, he was buried in the tomb, and then his visage appeared to, the people that loved him and cared about him, and he told them whatever they wanted him to know, and then he just ascended and disappeared. Which kind of sounds like a ghost to me. So and I'm not saying that it is a ghost, but I'm just saying that it's so odd to me that so many ministers and preachers shun people away from the spiritual side of things, when even in the Bible there's all sorts of spiritual things. If there weren't any demons, what was Jesus pulling out of people and throwing into pigs? And I mean, I know that's all kind of going into religion and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, even in the Bible, I'm sure the Quran, the Torah, they probably all they're all basically the same religion, whether people want to admit it or not. At least in my opinion, they all believe in one God. It's the same but different. It's just how it is, I guess. But
yeah, speaking of the spiritual aspect of it, after I started seeing them, I started doing some research, and I don't know if you ever heard of Chris Bledsoe?
I'm not
He has a
sure.
book out, UFO of God, and I purchased that book. But he had experience with orbs, but he had like a Lady of Fatima type of experience too, and I believe he's Pentecostal, very, very, very religious man, and so it seems that the more spiritual people, religious people, they seem to have a deeper association with them, and I've always been a God-fearing man, but even that has greatly appreciated,
Yeah.
And but yeah, those guys. The more spiritual someone is that experiencing, they should have an understanding of what they are, and I think Chris Bledsoe, he thinks the orbs. If he can determine when they're coming before they come. So, yeah, to me, it's definitely something spiritual, but I didn't discover that until doing the research.
That's something else I was going to ask you. It might be a little bit outside the field a little bit, but since all this happened, does this change your view of like heaven and hell, or what? Not necessarily heaven and hell, but what comes after death? Did that change your perspective on that in general? Like, did it include that as a change, or has your belief always been whatever it may be now, or did it change that a little bit?
Well, becoming a believer in the paranormal has enhanced my belief in the supernatural. So yeah, I've embraced religion more. I have a deeper understanding of what I was to fear from God. I mean, I don't know if it's making sense, but my because of the experience, I have more for my religion, as opposed to Chris Bledsoe being religious beforehand caused him to have the experience. So that's where I tie in the religion and beliefs to this.
I've had a couple religious experiences in my life where I've been really, really low, and sort of asking God, praying for a sign, before something bad happens, or before, whatever the case may be. And I've had some things happen in my life, and I think I've told you about some of them or whatever. But that led me to believe, and from what I saw, I'm not sure what came first, heaven or hell. I've seen signs of both, but I surely, once I started seeing some really negative things, it kind of got into that a little bit. It always led me to believe if there's something this bad, this weird, and this bad on the earth, then there's got to be something good to balance that out somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's kind of a weird, but the way I've experienced things has changed my view. Like when I was younger, I probably didn't believe in much of anything. To tell you the truth, I was interested in ghosts. I was interested in the Loch Ness monster and Bigfoot, for that matter, but don't necessarily mean I think everything I thought was true. I got Irish blood, but I'm not sure leprechauns are skipping around. Now they might be, but I haven't seen any proof of it. But just the same, I'd rather appease the fairies and and hope for the best than just ignore the whatever's going on. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get too much off track.
I never gave much thought to an area whether having good energy or bad energy before this.
Yeah.
But after going through this experience, I got into some deep thinking, and if if an area has had traumatic events like killing of natives or just any bloodshed on the ground, there has to be trauma, traumatic energy left on that area, if that makes sense, you know?
Oh yeah, no, it makes
I
complete
now
sense.
believe those areas exist.
Yeah, the area I'm telling you about here, the one that I've told you about so much, that's close to where I live. It's there's been a lot of blood shed over that ground, and a lot of there was desecrations of the natives' burials there. There was a revolutionary massacre there, where a whole battalion of British were massacred in their sleep. Well, I'm sure they woke up for it, but they did not survive it. I don't think one man survived. And they built a lot of plantations out there. And there's some plantations that have burned, but there's one out there that still got bars on the windows and chains in the basement. So you can't tell me that whole road where that particular plantation is on. Every time I pull onto that road here lately, it just gives me the oddest feeling, like there's people standing in the weeds in the woods watching me as I go down the road towards the plantation house, and there's nobody there. There's nobody watching. Not that I can see, but every time I get on that road, my heart just immediately speeds up. Just that whole area is weird to me. And as far as you were talking about the lights with the intelligence to them. That's something else that I didn't see personally, because I was driving this night, and I just tell you the truth, in this area I didn't want to leave my car for too long, because by itself, because it's just it's out in the middle of nowhere. But we had some people with us, and one of the boys had brought a shotgun. Just because the area we was going, it can be a rough place. Even though it's out in the middle of nowhere, you run into some weird characters out there a lot of the times, more often than not, which is odd, but it's very true. But I've seen a man walking down the tracks about 2:30 in the morning, and strangely enough, he's walking towards that plantation house out through the woods. If you follow that track out, the funny thing is, the man who built that plantation, he had that train line extended out to the back of his house. So he was a doctor, and he used to practice in Danville, which is a good little ways from where we're at now. Not too far, but by car it's about 45 minutes or so. So you imagine riding a horse that long. I don't know how long it would take on a horse, but it would take a while. And he had a train line extended to the back of the plantation house, so he could take the train into town and bring it, take it back home every evening. Um, and I have seen a man walking down that line in the middle of the night, which wouldn't seem so odd. Maybe it's a hunter or something. But this night, it was like one of these like sort of harvest moon nights. You know what I mean? Where the light's just so bright outside, you can see everything. You can see the grass, the skies, the trees, everything. But this one figure walking down the tracks was just jet black, like from head to toe. And just a man walking down the tracks. But it's 2:30 in the morning, and we're like 20 minutes from the closest town, and there's just a man walking down the tracks. No car anywhere. It just struck me as odd, personally. But also, that kind of leads me, sort of segues into this other. There's a legend, there's legends about tracks everywhere, about seeing balls of light. Where there is a ball of light on this track, and I did this night. It was me and a girl. We stayed in the car, and I drove down the road and waited for them. I was gonna give them about 15 minutes on the tracks and come back up and pick them up. And when they got on the tracks, there was a green ball of light that appeared, and it would sort of come towards them. And then if anybody ran towards it or tried to get towards it, it would move away. And then if anybody got remotely close to it, or anybody, and they did shoot at it a couple times, I guess. I don't know what they were thinking or whatever, but it scared them. I know it scared them, because when we heard them screaming in the woods. We heard the shotgun go off a couple times, and they almost beat us to the top of the road. And they were, probably an eighth of a mile down that track, maybe a quarter of a mile, maybe even a half mile. I don't know exactly how far, but we were down a couple miles on the road. No, they were probably down close to a couple miles, and they ran on foot and met us. They were coming off the track, screaming, hollering, jumping in the car. But this ball of light sort of seemed to have an intelligence about it. If anybody got close to it, it would either move away or blink out, and it would appear further down the tracks. And nobody could ever get close to this green ball of light that was on the tracks. But it terrified everybody that was on the tracks. But everybody seemed to have the same opinion, that it had an intelligence about it. It wasn't just like swamp gas or some sort of earth light or something like that. So I know that's a long way around for me to ask you this question, which, but you know, I know you said you saw these balls of light, then things started coming. You know, you started seeing things at your house, um, and you've had some health problems, and you've had some problems on the mountain, getting injured pretty decently and whatever. Do you think that whatever this is going on, do you think it's degraded your health or made you any worse off than you were before, or do you think that's just a natural that has nothing to do with what's going on? It's just you know in the normal course of everything. I was just curious about that. What you think about that?
Uh, my health has been affected. Uh, I can't necessarily correlate that to that area, but since I've been going up there, I have been put on chemo medication, pill form, because of a hyperimmune disorder. I've never had anything like that.
Yeah.
And, oh man, it was just a string of health problems. I had a diagnosis of Castleman's. That's excessive cell growth in the abdomen. I was experiencing a lot of headaches. A lot of depression too.
Yeah.
And
I understand that for sure.
I I think I called you the night that I nearly cut off my thumb.
Yeah,
I
you
super
did.
glued the skin back together,
Yeah, you did.
and after the adrenaline stopped, I was sitting there just looking at my blood on the ground in that area, and I was like, "What is going to happen to me now?" I've never had that fear before, and that's when the thought of traumatic events happening in an area of bloodshed that you know
Yeah. Shedding more blood
something
doesn't
happened.
reactivate what's going on, kind of thing. Or that's kind of what I would think.
Yeah, and I feel like something followed me home. It did follow me home. It was over my house, but inside my house, my health, my mental state, I was obsessed with it and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I mean, was it terrifying? Yes. It was terrifying. I anticipated the terror, but I feel grateful for being able to see those words. They have a meaning to me now, but I don't know exactly what it is. And I if I didn't capture it on video, by no means would I be openly talking about this. But you believe me from the get go, a total stranger, you believe me without a shred of evidence. And I couldn't understand why somebody would take the time to listen to my craziness. And then when I got the video, I didn't need to validate myself with you. I didn't talk to my family about this.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to friends about this. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy, but I am that guy. It happened. And I'm grateful it happened. I had a string of bad luck, but I think there's some good to go with bad in any situation. There's a silver lining in any situation.
Why do you think you would
Was
chose?
it worth it?
Go ahead. Do you
I'm
think it was
sorry. I
worth it?
was going to say, was it worth it at the time? Maybe not. Looking back now, yeah, it was totally worth it.
Mm. Why do you think you were chosen to see this, or do you think it's something maybe anybody could have seen if they were in your place, or do you think it was meant for you specifically?
I wonder about that. I don't know, but it seems after that one time, whether I was meant to see it or not, either I tuned into it or it tuned into me, because I had plenty more videos than what I had on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we went over the reasons why I can't post those.
Yeah.
And it's nothing different. It's just the orbs, you know. And
Those orbs are interesting, though. I will give you that. They're interesting, and especially if you can slow it down, you really and you start playing with the colors and stuff, you can really see some pretty interesting detail in those whatever they are, whether they're orbs or I don't know whether they're ships or orbs or I don't know what they are, but whatever they are, they have some interesting uh, video and photographic artifacts about them. I would say, like if you can capture them, and I understand it's like a split second thing a lot of the time. I'm surprised you've been able to capture as much as you have, to be honest. Um, let's see. Do you think these people that you were seeing out there, like when you were leaving the mountain, when you see these people early in the morning, did you get the impression that these were just normal people that maybe a little strange, maybe not, but did you get the feeling that these were like normal people that you were seeing out on the mountain, or do you think that at that point maybe they had people like watching you, or did it ever feel like those people were watching you when you came off the mountain? Did you ever equate that feeling of being watched with either one of those people that you met coming off the mountain, or no?
oh, man, I can't say I was being watched all the time by DNR or somebody else, under surveillance, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I know I know I was being watched sometimes. I know for a fact 4 times.
You're bound to have.
But in reality,
You're bound to have
in
been.
reality, I I always felt I was never there alone.
Yeah.
Every time. That's not saying it was physically somebody there, but it felt like I was being watched.
Well, like I said, man, I
But
believe
yeah,
that 100% because I mean, I know you had a little experience with it, but just like this stuff you sent me last night, I've had two pictures in a video just disappear out of our conversation, and it says something like clicked or tap to save in conversation or something, and you tap them, and there's just nothing there. Now I saved everything last night, but you remember when we had a problem a while back when the images and the videos just kind of seemed like they disappeared, and we couldn't figure out what was
yeah,
happening. That screams
yeah.
government to me, but it could
We,
be anything, I guess. But it's just a little odd to me personally.
yeah, mine. Thankfully, I sent them to you because those videos and images, they were gone from my cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Now that could be coincidence, I don't know, but it was those specific images.
Mm-hmm. So,
But had I not sent them to you, I wouldn't have had them again. So I never had that happen. So I can't say it was anything nefarious, but I find that odd.
yeah. I know you said that this, a long time ago, there used to be some sort of small place out there, and I know you said at one point there was a military base out in that general area somewhere, but it had been decommissioned many, many years ago.
Oh yeah, the Wolf brothers. They're two elderly Native Americans. Oh, I know it's Ray. I think it's Ray and Roy Wolf. Great guys, man. They're 92 and 88. They said back in the, I believe it was the 60s that there was government vehicles going in and out, and you know it was marked as a military facility, but there was never any military vehicles going in or out. Just cars with government plates or pickup trucks.
Mm.
And, he said that it wasn't, there was no military about it. And, he said that the security around that area at that time, Ray said that it was really, really tight security. And you can drive through that area now, but when it was marked as a military base, there was a cutoff. I think he said a half mile to a mile before you got to. I can't say it's an entrance because what you have to do is you have to pull off on the side of the road into the woods a little bit. And if there was a road there at one time, I could see an old service road about a half mile in. And I've never seen anything remotely close that, let's say, a military base was there.
Did you ever think about the prospect of it being what they call a dome or a deep underground military base? Like maybe where there's just a small entrance on the surface somewhere, potentially hidden. Maybe there's something under the ground there. Like maybe there's still a facility of some sort. Is that a possibility, or is there just no movement at all there?
That's one thing that I thought of a possibility.
Mm.
And but is it a good area for that? Yeah. Is it the prime area for that? No.
Yeah.
I mean, that would take quite a bit of a boring operation.
Yeah. So, in other words, if it was a dome, they would have to be basically drilling through rock, and I mean, rock is a good fortification, but you're also on a mountain that's in the middle of nowhere. So, unless you got a nuclear missile buried in it, I can't think of why there would be a base there. But at the same time, it's kind of stuck in my head. I wondered if that maybe not what was going on, maybe why the DNR and the big bad was kind of, not after you, so to speak, but kind of after you, I would say. There was definitely a little harassment there, in my opinion, but
I think the government knows that there's some kind of natural energy, whether it be ley lines or, they have to know there's some kind of natural energy, and they're probably trying to tap into it. Mm-hmm. And of course, when the government grabs a piece of land, they usually don't let it, be reclaimed.
Take everything and give nothing back.
Yeah. So I think that's what maybe was going on. There's definitely some kind of energy there.
Yeah.
So and I think they were trying to tap into it.
You think that's why they put the fences up and the shiny new signs afterwards? Just to let people know that, don't.
I think that was to let me know.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anything else. In my stupor amazement on my first video, I gave the location. And I guess how they tracked me down is they seen my truck pulled off on the side of the road, and they ran my plate. And they probably have been watching. Yeah, I don't think they were just stumbled upon me when I set the cameras out. I think I was being watched before that.
Yeah.
And they seen I put the cameras out.
How long was it when you started going out on the mountain? How long was it before you started hearing the chimes and the bells and the metallic sounds and all the things that don't belong? How long did it take before that started? from your initial.
Well, the orb started in 2023, and I never heard those bells until was it last fall? I sent you that video of us freaking out.
I believe so.
There's no wind chimes. There's nobody out there. I'm almost a mile into a mountain.
I've heard them. For anybody that doesn't know, I haven't been there, but I have heard what he's talking about. And for him to be that far out, there's nothing out there. There's a couple. I'm sure there's animals, even though it's just quiet and dark. But I don't know what it is, but that's those sounds you talk about. They're certainly there, and they what's odd. One thing you sent me, it even sounds almost like somebody playing a pan flute, and then it sounds almost like somebody is singing, but it almost kind of reminds me of like a Native American type of chant or something, because it's not something I can understand, but it's really weird, which kind of leads me to, do you believe in I don't know if portals is the right word, but the reason I say is, because I've heard a lot of people say that when you hear like a metal, like either a metal, it's like a sort of tearing metallic sound, or you hear like a big metallic thump out in the middle of nowhere, that it's like,
oh, the car door.
Yeah.
The car door. Absolutely, I've heard that. Yes, sir. And I think you told me what that was. I was like, I heard the car door shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after you told me that, I started to hear that more and more and more and more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely believe that now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you think it's a? Let me ask you this: do you think it's opening? Do you think it's opening up to another place, or do you think it's opening up to another time altogether? When you start to hear these things and you start to see these lights. I mean, if it's actually breaking reality, what would you think?
Man, that's a good question. Maybe it's just an energy opening up.
Mm-hmm. Timeless, just there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hearing the car door shut. There's no way you're going to hear a car door shut out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will give people an idea where I was at. I was at the highest elevation in West Virginia. I'm in southern West Virginia. So that elevation is close to 3,000 feet, maybe 2,300. And I'm up on top of that mountain. And the nearest road is close to a mile away. I can't even hear traffic deep in there. Yeah, so to hear the car door and then you tell me that, I can definitely associate the happenings when I heard that.
How long? Okay, you started seeing the lights, then you started hearing the sounds. How long after that was it before you started to see lights at your house? Was this a matter of days, months, years?
Oh, it was, that was in the spring of 2024. So, it, about 6, 7 months out, maybe.
About half a year, yeah.
Maybe a little more, 9 months. I'm going out there in the wintertime, not as often. It's just hard to do, and it's hard to breathe in the cold up that high.
Yeah. Okay. It sort of this is gonna be like maybe a little bit of an oddball question, but I'm just it's just an outside thought. But have you ever thought that maybe you were part of some sort of experiment or some sort of psyop by the government? Like maybe this is something that they can control to some extent, and maybe uh maybe that it's just them playing with you as opposed, or are you just 100% that this is some sort of natural event, or I guess preternatural event? But what do you think about that?
Well, I knew it wasn't a drone. The first one, I knew it wasn't a drone. I knew it wasn't an aircraft. Uh, at first, maybe I thought it was some kind of surveillance, but I knew that was just my rational mind trying to give a rational answer.
Yeah.
But the orbs, no, they're not government. If they are, they're doing a damn good job.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
they came a long way.
Yeah. What do you look forward to in the future, like going forward? Are you interested to see more weird things, or have you had enough?
Uh, I'm moving to Ohio, right on the coast of Lake Erie. It's going to be interesting to see if I see the orbs there.
Huh.
That,
There's a lot.
it,
There's supposed to be a lot
yeah,
of weird
I'd
things with
like
the
to
Great
see
Lakes.
them.
Sometimes maybe you never know. Hell, you might see something there. Who knows?
Yeah, my daughter's, she lives in Ohio, and she's seen my videos. And said, Dad, don't bring that with you. She's very religious. And she said, don't bring that with you. She
Mm,
said, she was serious. She said, if I see,
yeah.
she has a two-family house. I'm going to move on the second floor uh, when I go through treatments. And she said, if there's any Lord showing up over her house, I got to go.
Mm.
I said, yeah,
Well.
overall, I think they're harmless. It's just that area that they originated from.
Mm,
And you get used to seeing them around the house when it first happened. You're like, what's going on?
yeah.
But yeah, I would like to experience again the orbs.
Mm,
I would maybe go back up to the area again during the day. I was going up there at night time, man. You know how it was with that place.
okay.
You know, there was no use for it during the day in my eyes because the weird stuff seemed
You,
to be happening that night.
you know, one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, when I was a small kid, we had that cartoon Peter Pan. Then when I grew up a little bit, we had the I don't know if you call it live action or whatever, but with the real people, it was called Hook. That particular version of Peter Pan. But Captain Hook always had a saying, death would be the greatest adventure of all. And I say that only to say this: does life hold more mystery and more meaning to you now than it did prior to the experiences, or
Oh,
it's bound to
definitely.
have, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. You can't not have that feeling, you know?
Yeah,
I don't think it's possible.
yeah. Okay, let's see. I ain't got but a couple more questions here for you. I think Beth has almost went to sleep on us here, but okay, no, she hasn't. She's just relaxing. Um, but let's see. What else do we have here? Um, so what do you think? What do you think comes after death? Now that you've seen, and I know that it's not necessarily a life after death thing that maybe you've seen, maybe it is, maybe not, but it's obviously opened up your belief systems. What do you think? What do you think comes after we pass away? Do you think that we go to heaven, or do you think we just turn into energy and evaporate, or what do you believe? I'm just curious about that.
Nothing to fear if you're living right.
I agree with you 100%. 100%.
I do. How I feel now.
Mm-hmm. So why come
I'm
forward?
doing.
Why come forward now? Just you feel comfortable coming forward now. You got a little bit of evidence under your belt, and you got somebody you trust to talk to. So it's just the right time.
Yeah, someone else might have a story to tell.
I hope so. That's what I'm looking for. I'm
Maybe.
looking for the stories. I'm looking for the truth. That's why I started doing this. That's why I started the other videos. I've seen a lot of weird things when I was younger, and I want answers. I'm kind of like you. I don't care how scary it is. I don't care. I don't care what it is. Just I need to know. And I know you can't possibly know everything, but damn if I don't try. You know. And
I
you got any
don't think.
questions?
I'm curious to know.
I don't think we really misunderstand everything. I think
Okay.
there's a danger in knowing
All right.
everything.
I think Beth's got a question or two for you real quick, and then we'll wrap up here before too long. I don't want to keep you all night. I know we've been having a couple hang-ups here and there, but
Okay, what I'm curious to know is the rock that looks like it's like, in my opinion, looks like a lion.
yeah, the long rock that's like laying. Yeah.
Obviously, that rock's been there for years. It ain't like somebody just took it up there. How far is that from the actual graveyard? And are they sure that it's an Indian burial ground?
Um, According to the Wolf Brothers, there's definitely natives up there.
Oh, that's interesting.
The distance from the rock cemetery, 150 yards,
Hmm.
but you would never know the cemetery was there. You didn't stumble upon it like I did.
Yeah, Beth's got an interesting question. Do
Yeah,
you have
but
any native heritage or that you to speak of or no that you know of?
uh, my grandmother on the father's side, she's she was quarter Cherokee, and my great grandmother on my mother's side was 1/8 Cherokee. So
Maybe that stuff was meant for you after all.
Yep.
See Beth over here. She's
yeah,
Because I know this is not like remotely the same thing, but remember the Indian burial ground? I kept telling you that we go up there and we would rake and put flowers and stuff on. I would see stuff and hear stuff like that. But once I started actually cleaning it up and taking care of it, like that, don't get me wrong, stuff was still around, but it didn't freak me out as much. That's why I was just curious if he has any.
yeah, Beth doesn't like we talk about Indian burial grounds and artifacts. It doesn't bother her at all. Like she's part native, and it doesn't bother her. It doesn't seem to affect her. But I know better than to take my pale tail into a place where I don't belong. Anytime I've ever been around the Indian burial ground, it's usually okay unless something gets knocked over or unless somebody's disrespectful. But I've just had bad experiences with burial ground or with the Indian burial grounds in particular, um, personally. And I can't find any native heritage in my line. I've been able to trace my lines back to I don't remember if it's 1100 or like a 1036 somewhere to the last Queen of Wales is about as far back as I can go in my lineage, but I can't find any native heritage in my lineage. So maybe the fact you have a little bit of native blood, maybe it's affecting you in a positive way. Like I said, maybe I know you like you said at the time it's frightening at the time. It's confusing, but maybe it's something. I heard some old boy. I sent you the comment today. It was on one of my videos that somebody left me, and he said that there a lot of times when you find mounds or rocks like placed into cairns that they're not always burials, which I've also heard. That could be like I told you before, there could be caches of gold. There could be it could be arrowheads, it could be broken pottery. But this guy told me, I haven't looked into it, but he said in Danville, in this particular area where I run across my first burial ground, that there's several tribes that are in that area or were in that area at the time, and I knew that there were, but he said a lot of times when you find a rock, like a good sized rock that's out of place, or you find a mound of rocks, it's not always a burial ground. That they sometimes use those as either a marker for a vision quest, or where something I guess spiritually interesting has happened. Sometimes they mark certain trails or certain lands, I guess, that are good for certain things. He said, but a lot of times when you see the altars, it's more like an altar than it is a cairn of rocks. So a lot of times when you do see a rock or a pile of rocks, that it's not necessarily a burial ground, that it is a marker, for somebody's vision quest or for something spiritual that's happened. And I know those rocks are too big to be moved by hand, but I just kind of find it interesting that you do have a couple rocks there that are very prominent, and it's really close to this burial ground. And then you have all these lights, and then, you go in there, your nephew goes in, y'all see all these weird things, affects y'all completely differently. It opens you up and it completely shuts him down. I find all that very interesting to me. It's just I don't know what it's telling me, but it's interesting. The more I think about it, the more interesting it becomes, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, as far as the natives, you know, I unfortunately, my parents had me when they were in their 40s. So my grandparents, especially my great grandmother, I didn't get to spend much time with them or learn any other cultures. And I never picked up on any of the heritage or anything like that. And, but I do remember my great grandmother talking about uh, certain burial rituals and not necessarily mounds, but
Yeah.
being not necessarily being buried with possessions or anything or burying artifacts. I think that was kind of lost
Yeah.
on her too.
Well, they always say the
But
blood cries out, man. So maybe your blood is enough. Maybe the spot recognizes you.
I also have a theory.
And I don't even bring up the natives. I had so little, and I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, do something I'm not. I have great respect for the natives.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to slap anyone in the face.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really speak on that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the orbs that he's seeing's not
But
orb.
if anybody had the idea of digging into a mound, I would say they're absolutely insane.
It's
Knowing what I know now.
Protect him.
Not that I did it,
from
but
something like feral people, or
Yeah. Beth's making a good point. Did you ever think about maybe the lights are like some form of protection against something on the land or against something else? That's sort of an odd thought, but it is kind of interesting. Because that you see them there and then they come up to your house. I guess why is the question more than anything. But like I said, I wonder if it was meant for you. Seems like it was in a way. I don't know why. I guess that's the interesting part, that you can never know is why. But
I mean, that would be my theory though, because like the episode of Curses, that scared the shit out of both y'all. But I was fine.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, where she's got that native blood. A friend of mine, his father owns some property up out of town, and one night, apparently Chris can't see things. Apparently Chris can hear things, and apparently I can see and hear things. I don't really know. I don't know how it works, but I know this night we were just standing out. We were getting ready to leave. We were in the backyard, and it was late. Not late, but it's probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. Somebody, it was dark outside. And I looked down in the woods, and Beth, it didn't bother her at all. Like whatever, it would just But Chris heard it, and he bolted. I bolted straight into him and almost knocked him to the ground. I looked back and I saw what looked to be a man in the woods, but he was running so fast. He was moving so fast that there's no way that it could have been a man. And about the time I'm thinking, how the hell is this man moving so fast? He drops down to all fours and starts scurrying at such a speed that he was down in the gully in the ravine and gone like in a matter of less than 5 seconds. And I probably watched him for a good 200 or 300 feet that he cleared in maybe 5 6 seconds. Well, it cleared. It was odd because it was like all one color, but I don't really know how to describe it. It's like a man. It looked like a man, but like mid stride, it just drops down to all fours and starts galloping instead of running on two legs. But it's still a man. And then it's just, the next thing I know, it's gone. But it scared me so bad, I literally spun on heel and bolted straight into a friend of mine and almost knocked him. This guy's probably, I don't know, somewhere right around 300 pounds or so. And I almost knocked him to the ground. I hit him so hard. We both almost went to the ground. That's just how bad it scared me. And then he bolted at about the same time because he apparently he didn't see what I saw, but he could hear it scurrying through the woods, and it scared him too. And Beth is just standing there laughing at us like we might be crazy people. Like it didn't bother her at all. So, that's why I said, some of the native, it's just odd how it works out. Like what might affect us might not affect the native. I guess, and I guess it depends on whether it's meant for us, whether it's not. Whatever. But I don't know what that was in his woods. I know he said that there used to be some stuff out there, and supposedly there used to be a development out in there somewhere where there was like a little small neighborhood of like basically witches that all like were collected in this one spot. I don't know what he meant by that exactly, but I don't know. He had some interesting stories about the land, so I don't know what's going on that land. I know they cleared it off, and they're going to use this pasture land now, or rent it out for pasture land or something. But they destroyed that whole forest. It's all gone now. It's nothing but red mud and stumps. It was pretty down in there, but it was a weird vibe down in there sometimes, And I'm pretty sure that was native, but that terrified me. It didn't bother Beth at all. She was just standing there laughing at us, and I don't know whether she saw or heard it, but whether she did or she didn't, it didn't bother her at all. Do it?
I did.
Well, apparently she did.
And see, that's why when I get rocks, I read them. When I go somewhere and I see a rock, that's why I read them.
Yeah, she does what she calls reading rocks, and I always thought it was weird, but I don't know. I've kind of done it, and it kind of makes a little more sense to me. Have you ever picked up a rock or picked up a particular object and held it, and you can feel whether it's good or bad, or whether there's something attached to it or not? I guess is a way to say it. Like I said, she can explain it better than me probably, but it gives you a certain feeling. Like she likes rocks and she collects them and like gemstones and stuff like that. But it wouldn't matter if it was a platinum and palladium and diamond ring that was worth $1 million. If she thought it had bad energy on it, she'd toss it into the ocean rather than keep it. It's just something about, I don't know how she does it. But have you ever picked up a rock or ever picked up, a piece of quartz or something like that, especially from that area, and ever got any kind of weird feelings off of it? Or is that just something you not ever even thought of?
The only thing is that Boulder that's out of place.
Yeah.
I mean, before the first time I laid eyes on it, I know nothing weird was happening, but it just feels like it don't belong there.
Yeah.
You can look at it. It just don't belong here, but it has a purpose for being here. That's the only thing I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And before anything weird started happening, that rock was just weird. It gave me a weird feeling.
Gave you a weird feeling.
My nephew,
That's interesting.
He will say that much.
same.
Hmm.
I've been not the same. I got a weird feeling when you showed me the picture of it. It don't belong there.
Yeah, she said, and it's funny because she's saying that when I showed her that picture, that was her first thought, and it was because she was like, "What is this, and why?" Like that rock does look kind of out of place, like it's just there. It's odd. I mean, of course you're on a mountain, so of course you're gonna see rocks here and there, but it is very prominent, and it does look like it has quartz running through it. To me, it's kind of hard to tell, but to me it looks like it's got quartz or quartzite running through it, and I guess that would make sense if you're having some sort of weird energy coming off of it. I guess it would make sense now that I think about it. Um, if it is quartz, they use to make hard drives now because you put a little bit of pressure to quartz and it stores energy, and you put a little more pressure to quartz and it releases that same energy back out. So if that's the case, quartz is capable. We actually now know physically that quartz is capable of holding data, or holding energy and then releasing energy. Who's to say that if there's quartz there, like that last place we lived in Stoneville? It's called Stoneville, but there's everywhere. There's chunks of quartz the size of your head just laying on the ground. And we had some of the weirdest experiences up at that house in the 5 or 6 months that we were there. Um, and I don't know. I think the land up there, there's just something on that land. I don't even know. I don't even think it's the house. I think it's the land itself. Um, but I think something happened on that land. I'm not really gonna get into that on here, but I think something bad happened on that land, and um, I don't know if it's just stained the land or what it's done, but anyway. It's an interesting place, and those rocks up there, they definitely have to store energy some kind of way because it's something up there putting out some kind of energy that's
I mean,
more than normal.
you gave me beautiful pieces, but they
Yeah,
went back out in the yard.
yeah. I've given her pieces of quartz and stuff where she collects them, and some of them she keeps, and other ones she'll take right out to the porch and pitch right back in the woods. She doesn't care how much she likes them. If she don't get good energy off of them, she tosses them. Um, you got any?
You know, I definitely wouldn't pick anything up off of that
Yeah,
land.
yeah,
That never entered my mind.
yeah,
I just had no desire to pick something up off of that ground and stick it in my pocket.
yeah. I don't blame
I
you.
can't say that.
I don't blame you.
If you guys
But
want, I can
if
show
you
you
have a
pics.
way to post those pictures with this audio,
Yeah,
I would like the people to see those pictures because I think you can get a pretty good vibe just off the picture of that rock.
yeah. I'm gonna like I said, we got to go to the storage unit tomorrow or sometime this week. And right now we're just kind of doing this recording kind of primitively at the moment, the best way we can do it. But all my mixers and my computers and stuff are in storage. But I'm gonna see if I can't get a hold of my PC and my mixers and stuff, and I'm gonna try to cut this together into like an actual video so I can actually insert some of the pictures in the video. I know you want to do a video call, but right now everything is, you know how much trouble I had the past couple of days trying to figure out how to do the recording without the mixer, because apparently Android has made it worse than Apple trying to record a call now, no matter what you do, unless you're paying top dollar to do it, and I don't have top dollars right now, so
Does he plan on going back up there before he
Yeah,
goes home?
whatever you want to do with the videos that I said were okay,
yeah,
which I think pretty much everything I've sent you is okay. I think everything I can't have has been taken from me.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
The best
yeah,
way to learn how to do
I
that.
welcome people to go to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, go ahead and tell everybody about your channel.
Appalachian.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there. I apologize, but yeah, go ahead and tell everybody about your YouTube channel and how to get there if you'd like, real quick, or take as long as you like. We're not in a hurry. Take as long as you want. Yeah.
There's 4 videos of the Lord. The channel's at Appalachian _ moth.
Okay.
I got the video of the orbs up there. I don't really want to link the pictures to that page, but you're more than welcome to put the pictures up with your page.
Okay.
So
All right. Yeah, Beth had she had another interesting question. I hit you with another question or two real quick, then I'll let you get out of here. I know it's running long. You plan on going back up on that? You plan on visiting before you leave, or you had enough for this go round?
I've had enough go round.
Had enough.
Well, I was just asking because, like, I know he's like talking about picking up something, and I wasn't suggesting like that him actually bring it home, but like he could go up there and just like clear his mind and put his hand on that rock, just one of them. And the way I do it is if I feel like I've got vertigo, like I'm gonna fall, it ain't good. But if it's like a tingly, like your legs may be asleep and you're in the ocean and a wave of water hits you, then I'll take it.
Oh yeah. When I was getting those flood of confusion and like a vertigo, like your float. Yeah, absolutely. I had that happen more than once.
You should never went back.
Yeah, she said that vertigo thing is bad. That's normally a bad feeling if you get that kind of dizzy feeling off of something. She's saying you probably shouldn't go back if that's the case.
See, like my great grandma, which is my father's grandma, it was my grandpa Owen's mama. She was a Cherokee and she was adopted and raised by white people. But like, you know, we didn't get to see her much, like as but once we did get the guys would be cutting wood and I'll be helping Granny and I'm like, Granny, what about, Indians and lights and, just trying to get out of her what she knew. But like, yeah, one of her main things that she's always told me, and well, all of us, I reckon, is don't go into the woods at night and follow her scream. Don't follow a dog into the woods. Do not, absolutely for no reason, follow any lights in the woods.
Yeah, Beth's all the time telling me that because I'm quick to grab a shotgun or a pistol and run straight into the woods if I hear or see something in the woods. Doesn't scare me at all. And she's always acting like, "Why are you doing crazy white people shit? Why are you running? Why are you running into the woods like that?" She's all the time on me about that. But
being from different parts, you're in the Appalachian Trail. Are you in the Appalachian?
No, I'm in the Piedmont. So
we're probably about an hour and a half away from the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yeah, we're not too far. We're in kind of like not quite the foothills, but we're kind of like in the rolling Piedmont is what it's called. So we're kind of like in central North Carolina, but it's only about an hour and a half from the mountains. It's not too far.
There's enough more of the Appalachians, whether it's deep south or up north, that there's similar stories that there has to be some truth to it.
Yeah.
I just don't, those lores living on and being retold without.
Yeah, that's why I like watching. That's why I like watching Brian from Black Mass and South Force 10 because they're from the Appalachians and they're all over this particular area in the southeast. North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, that sort of area. And that Georgia sometimes. That's kind of the areas that interest me the most. Because it's closest thing I found to where I am. That there's a lot of. Not a lot of coverage of, but when you do find coverage of it, it's a pretty decent coverage of whatever's going on. And those are two people I really like listening to, because I don't feel like they're not trying to bullshit you. It is what it is. If you agree with it, fine. If you don't like it, too bad. That's just how it is, But
I don't mean no disrespect in what I'm about to say, but both of us is dumb as fuck. We live with the man that was born and raised in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
My daddy.
Yeah. What about it?
Really?
Yeah.
see if he showed the stuff that
he believes in stuff because me and him
TJ
talk
sent
about it.
you? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They were kids. They were probably in the woods playing. My
Yeah.
mom and him actually lived pretty
Mm.
far off the road. Remember, she strung up that piano wire.
Yeah.
And that's, well, okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, my he's my stepdad, but the only dad I really know. Well, actually, the only man that's ever really been a dad to me. I'll put it that way. He was born and raised in West Virginia. And I have a bunch of uncles, and then my uncle James still lived in West Virginia until the day he passed. So
Yeah, as a matter of fact, her dad, there's a house up there that belonged to, I believe, his daddy. I don't know if it's his daddy or his granddaddy originally. I believe it was his dad's house. And I don't know. I've heard a couple different stories. Um, but supposedly somebody was killed in that house, or just outside that house or something. And apparently there's a light that comes down. There's like a split staircase that goes up when you, I guess when you go in the main foyer. It's like kind of like an old plantation house, and it has a his and her staircase. That kind of spirals up on one side, and the other one's for men and one's for women. And I guess they have their own areas of the house. And he said the house comes with something like 100, 150, 200 acres of land, something like that. And nobody will live in that house. They've tried to give that house to just about anybody, and they'll go visit it occasionally. And one or two people might climb through the window. I don't know why they don't go through the door, but they'll climb through the window and go in. But they don't stay long. But nobody will have that house for whatever reason. He said there is a light that comes down that staircase like once a year or several times a year, and it looks like a lantern or like a candle just floating down the staircase. And that's the only thing he really knows that happens there. But for whatever reason, nobody will touch that house and that land. Even if they give it away, nobody wants it. Like nobody in his family will take it. And I mean, it's a lot of
and
land, a nice big house from what I understand. And from what I understand, just nobody will take it just because it's just that haunted. And but yeah, I hadn't even thought about trying him. Maybe he might have a little bit of input because he was born and raised down in the hills and hollers. He says things like crick and boosh. So he's from deep West Virginia.
Warsh,
Yeah, warsh and stuff like that. I don't really
Cody,
talk exactly like that. I guess we all got different dialects, or whatever. But his dialect is what do you call it? More Appalachian than mine, I guess you'd put it. He was definitely raised down in the hollow somewhere down in there. Um, but yeah, I'll look into it, and I'll see what he thinks about it, and I'll let you know. And anybody out there you interested, go check out TJ's channel, check out my channel. Hopefully, we'll get you a little bit of the information out there, and y'all can look into it yourselves, see what you think. And you got anything else? All right, you got
Yeah,
anything? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just realized I said I was up there harvesting ramps. It was ginseng.
Ginseng.
And I'm sitting, yeah, and that's what I think was missing from this conversation, because the ginseng was everywhere, and it was the best ginseng root that I have ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, that's worth some money too at the right time of the year, ain't it? Or from what I understand.
And I just found that ginseng was so rich in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to
wish
come
I
across
would
it.
have screwed that up in the beginning. Maybe you can edit that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can if you don't have anything else you wanna do you have anything else you wanna say, TJ? If not, I'll go ahead and cut the recording off. Beth wants to talk to you for a second off air about something. You have anything else you'd like to say about it before we get out of here for the evening?
Yeah, if somebody's got a story to tell it. Somebody will believe
Absolutely.
me.
Absolutely. Yeah, feel free to go on TJ's channel, go on my channel. You can always email me. I got a strange email, but it's pretty easy to remember. Well, maybe it's not easy to remember, but it's Malibu Capone at gmail.com. You can find me at the Midnight Shadowline on just about every app there is. I think on one of the apps I'm up 12 a.m. Shadowline because Midnight Shadowline I guess was taken. But you can get in touch with me on my YouTube. You can get in touch with me via email. If anybody got anything to tell TJ, tell me. Like he said, if you got a story, tell it. we'd be interested to hear it. And not everybody's gonna think you're crazy. I can guarantee you that. No matter what you've seen, what you've heard, somebody's seen something weirder at some point. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I'd like anybody that has seen the orbs, just go to my comment section and tell me about it. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, you're not alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely not.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna get out of here for the evening. I guess we will catch you all next midnight. Hope y'all enjoyed the first episode of the Midnight Shadowline.
Follow along with us down the dark rabbit hole of the abnormal, the realms of the unknown, where the worlds of light and dark collide. Out of space and time, you're now entering the Midnight Shadowline.